What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sneakerbot Club, where we post live cops, tutorials, and reviews. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my top 5 tips for botting Yeezy Supply. So if you've been struggling with Yeezy Supply, or if you just want to improve your chances of copying, then you've definitely come to the right place. And if you already cook Yeezy Supply like crazy, I think you might be surprised by tip number 5. This is something that I don't think very many people do. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a huge thumbs up. I make informative live cop videos where I share my setups and general knowledge to help you guys increase your chances of copying. So if you're looking to learn a thing or two about botting, then please consider subscribing. Alright, now let's get into the video. Let's start off with tip number 1. So this first tip may not come as a surprise to some of you, but I know there's lots of people out there that need to hear this. And that tip is make sure you're running as many different credit cards as possible. The more the better. If you're looking to cop as many pairs as possible, then you're definitely going to want to run lots and lots of cards. In my experience, Yeezy Supply lets you check out with a single credit card about 2 to 3 times. So if you only have one credit card, you're going to max out at about 2 or 3 pairs. So the easiest way to get more credit cards is by generating something called virtual credit cards, also known as VCCs for short. My personal favorite way of generating VCCs is by using something called Privacy. With Privacy, you can generate up to 12 credit cards per month. So the sooner you sign up, the more credit cards you'll be able to generate. Now the best part is that all virtual credit cards generated from Privacy work great on Yeezy Supply without the need for a 3DS verification. So if you want to sign up for Privacy, please use the link down in the description box to receive a $5 credit on your first purchase. And it's 100% free, you only need a legit checking account to sign up. So another way to generate virtual credit cards is by using a real credit card company. And not all credit card VCCs will work on Yeezy Supply. One card that I know for sure works on Yeezy Supply is the Capital One Visa credit cards. With this card, you can generate up to 50 virtual credit cards per day. So if you want to sign up for this card, I'll have it linked down below as well. Alright, now let's move on to tip number 2. So tip number 2 is to make sure you farm your Gmail accounts 24/7. Having good Gmail accounts is 100% necessary to pass Splash on Yeezy Supply. Gmail accounts with a V3 recapture score of 0.9 is going to be your best bet for passing Splash. So make sure you're farming your Gmail accounts on their own dedicated proxy, preferably proxies that are not banned on Yeezy Supply, since some bots require your Gmail accounts to be able to access Yeezy Supply during the drop. My preferred method of farming is by using AYCD. AYCD is an absolute must-have if you're actually serious about botting. This program will take your Gmail account and it will generate human-like activity by watching YouTube videos, checking emails, making Google searches, reading news, plus lots of other things. This is the only way to get your Gmail accounts up to a 0.9 V3 recapture score. Also, you want to make sure you have as many Gmail accounts as possible. I like to run a ratio of about 1 Gmail account per 50 to 60 tasks. So I personally have about 40 Gmail accounts in my arsenal that I farm 24/7. So if you only have one personal Gmail account in your collection, don't worry, because you can actually buy additional Gmail accounts that already come with a 0.9 V3 score and a working proxy. My go-to place to purchase Gmail accounts is flash1clicks.com. I'll have them linked down below as well. Now Flash 1Clicks is great because they actually sell Gmail accounts that have already been farmed to a 0.9 V3 capture score, and they'll include a proxy that you can use for a limited time. So if today's the day before a big Yeezy Supply drop and you think you might need more Gmail accounts, make sure to visit Flash 1Clicks to grab a few Gmail accounts. Also make sure you're following them on Twitter because they post discounts, giveaways, and restocks pretty often. I'll have them linked down below in the description box. Alright, now let's move on to tip number 3. So tip number 3 is to make sure you diversify your proxy types and proxy providers. Now this is important because Yeezy Supply is known to change up their security pretty often, causing random proxies not to work. There have been releases where ISPs didn't work at all, and there's also been releases where most residential proxies didn't work. So you want to make sure you're not putting all of your eggs into one basket by using proxies from only one provider. Because when it comes to drop time, if your proxies aren't working, you probably won't realize it until halfway through the drop. Then you'll find yourself jumping into the bot's general chat asking everyone,
which proxies are working for everybody? Somebody help me, please.
Then when you finally find a company that works, they're all sold out. Now this has happened to me way too many times, and that's why I highly recommend to diversify your proxy types and proxy providers. So for proxy providers, I personally run a mixture of ISPs and residential proxies from Slash, Nocturnal, and Black Hat proxies. You really can't go wrong running these 3 companies. So if you're looking for some proxies that work on Yeezy Supply, make sure you check out the description box for links and discount codes to each company. Alright, now let's move on to tip number 4. Now this tip might be common sense by now, but tip number 4 is to run a lot of tasks and restart your bad tasks. Yeezy Supply is all a numbers game. If you want to increase your chances of copying, scale up your setup and run as many tasks as your bot can handle. If you really sit to think about it, the people that are hitting 100 clips on Yeezy Supply are probably not running a standard setup of one instance of a bot with 500 or 600 tasks. They're most likely running multiple instances of their bots, and I wouldn't be surprised if their total number of tasks weren't in the tens of thousands. They have well over 100 times the chances of copying as an average Joe running just a few hundred tasks, so make sure to run it up to increase your chances. Also, botting isn't always as easy as hitting start and walking away in hopes of getting lots of charges on your credit cards. My recommendation is to keep an eye on all of your tasks throughout the entire release. If your bot has a way to filter your tasks, you want to search for words such as error, unable, or why aren't I passing splash, and restart all of those tasks to give a new proxy and a brand new chance of passing splash. And last but not least, we have tip number 5. Now this tip is something that I'm sure many of you do not do, and this tip is to filter your proxies. This is especially true for residential proxies. You may be surprised to find out that many of your residential proxies might either be dead or banned on Yeezy Supply. So you want to make sure you delete or remove all of the bad proxies before the release starts. So if you're the type of person that will simply generate a list of 1,000 proxies, paste them into your bot and hit start, then this tip is specifically for you. For example, if you do this with 1,000 tasks, you're probably only going to get about 600 or 700 tasks that actually get into the splash page. But if you were to filter out your proxies beforehand, then you'll know for sure 100% of your residential proxies are going to be sitting in the splash page, which in turn increases your chances of passing splash. So now you might be thinking, well, how do I filter my proxies? Now my preferred method is by using AYCD. AYCD makes it extremely easy to organize and filter your proxies. All you have to do is create a list by going to create and give the category a name. I'll name this nocturnal. And now I'm going to generate my proxies. Generate, hit copy all your proxies, paste in here, and go to your list. Now you want to make sure target is selected as Yeezy Supply. Then click on options, go to test proxies and select all, and make sure it's on ping and hit run. Now just give it a few moments to test all of your proxies. As you can see here, some of the proxies are either bad, banned, or they're just not working at all. So the great thing about AYCD is you can automatically delete all of those proxies just by a few clicks. So what you want to do is go up here to options, click delete dead proxies, and then hit yes, and then hit yes again. All that you're left with is proxies that actually work on Yeezy Supply. So now you can go ahead and copy the clipboard, copy all, and now you're ready to paste it into your bot. So if you're running residential proxies, make sure you do this with all of your proxy lists before the next big release. Alright, so now just a quick recap on all 5 of these tips. Tip number 1 was to run as many different cards as possible. This is very important if you want to increase your chances of copying multiple pairs. Tip number 2 was to farm your Gmail accounts 24/7. You want to have as many Gmail accounts with a 0.9 v3 score as possible. Tip number 3 was to mix up your proxy types and proxy providers. You don't want to put all your eggs into one basket and be screwed over during the release, so make sure you diversify. And tip number 4 was to run a lot of tasks and restart all of your bad tasks. By running more tasks, you increase your chances of copying, so definitely run it up. And tip number 5 was to filter your dead and bad proxies. This is extremely important if you want a majority of your tasks to actually be in splash page without any errors. So make sure you filter using AYCD. And that about does it for today's video, guys. I really hope some of you learned something new, and I really hope this video helps you to cop more pairs on the next big release. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please give the video a huge thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if any of these tips actually help you on a release, please tag me in your success post. I'd love to see them. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.